Warlocks, if you are tired of being told to constantly run well in your fire team, or if you feel like that's all Warlocks have been for such a long time, you're not alone. But today we have two variations of the same Warlock build for you that have just minor tweaks amongst them. And both of these are going to put out the most DPS possible, making you top damage on your fire team. So we're going to break this build down, or I guess builds down for you. There's not much that changes between the two. And then we're going to show you guys what this can actually do in some content. If you guys enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. Let me know which variation of this is your favorite, but let's get into the breakdown. For the first one, this is on Prismatic Warlock, and we are running Nova Bomb. There is a reason for this one specifically, solely because it just works really, really well with the loadout. We are going to be using Arcane Needle just for our Strand and our Unravel debuff. Grenade-wise, you're going to want to run Storm Grenade. It's kind of key amongst this build. We have talked about Getaway Artist in the past, but not in the context of just how stupid the damage for this actually can be when you build into everything. Now, we are going to run Bleak Watcher. You could do Hellion if you want as well, but I like the ability to freeze and debuff with Stasis as well. Then Devour to have just insane health regen plus grenade regen as well. Now, for the fragments, we're opting to go with Facet of Dawn, so a powered melee hit makes us radiant, giving our weapons 20% more damage. Then Facet of Dominance, this is key for just your jolt with your arc grenades. Then Facet of Courage, so our arc, our solar, and our void abilities will deal damage to, or deal increased damage to those affected by darkness debuffs. That's going to be Unraveled, and that's also going to be the Slow and Frozen from our Bleak Watcher. Then we're also tossing on Facet of Bravery, so when we defeat targets with our grenade, as well as our Arc Soul, because that counts as a grenade now, that is going to give our Strand weapons Unravel and our Void weapons Volatile rounds. It all builds in together. It's utterly insane when you fully break down into your fragments and your aspects, plus your weapon stats and your weapon perks as well. So your main bread and butter for your loadout, I'm opting to go with Mint Retrograde, specifically with Elemental Honing. With our damage rotation, we are going to easily get this stacks up to Elemental Honing ×5, which is going to give us a pretty substantial just damage buff. And it's easier to proc with this than it would be if you're running bait and switch. I didn't get lucky and I don't have rewind rounds here. I wish I did. Envious Arsenal is still a really good option though. Now, for our primary weapon, I'm opting to go with Reckless Oracle. Don't worry if you guys don't have this. Feel free to check out our raid tutorial where you can easily get red borders from Garden of Salvation, even if you've never done the raid. I crafted this specifically with Demolitionist, so kills generate grenade ammo, and when you use your grenade, it auto reloads your mag. Then there's Repulsor Brace. So defeating void debuff targets, which will have volatile rounds from our Facet, is going to grant us an overshield, just again aiding in survivability. Not to mention, when we eat our grenade, we're going to become amplified as well, giving us another 15% reduction to damage, making the survivability of this build really, really good. Now, we're also opting to run Finality's Augur with this setup specifically because, frankly, Finalities is great. If you guys don't have that, I'd be happy to help you farm Sunder Doctrine for it. Come hop by our stream any weekend, and we will try to get you guys your very own Finalities Augur. Now, their main exotic, of course, is going to be Getaway Artist. Specifically, it's just stupid good, as I'm sure a lot of you know, but I wanted to take this into a full damage rotation to show you guys how good it really, really is. Obviously, it's great with Ad Clear from the damage scaler from the grenade stat, plus the ability to have your arc buddy now count as grenades. Converting your arc grenade gives you an arc turret for, I think it's around 15 or 20 seconds. It's just stupid. For the artifact mods, there's nothing crazy that you really need to run here. I'm opting to go with the Strand mods with Threadling Proliferation. So dealing Strand weapon damage can create Threadlings. Then Shield Crush as well. So while we have a Void Overshield, which we'll have from just our auto rifle, our melee deals increased damage, recharges faster. Then we're going to be amplified all of the time as well as radiant. This will allow our grenade to recharge faster and deal additional damage. Now for the armor mods, I'm opting to go with 2 super font mods to give us plus 40 to our super stat, as well as our harmonic siphon to create orbs off of those void kills. Then for the gauntlets, I'm going 3 firepower. Reason being is I want to have our orbs of power and our armor charges up as much as possible, and this just creates free orbs for you. So every time you pick up an orb, you get an armor charge going into those font mods. For the chest piece, of course, resistance mods matching with the activity that you're doing. And then we're going with a void generation mod to create more special and heavy ammo with our auto. Leg-wise, I'm tossing on one better already, so this just gives us health back on orb pickup, and then 2 weapons font mods, so that gives us plus 40 weapon stat, putting us at around 140, which is going to be really helpful just to do more damage. Now, lastly is going to be our bond. We're doing a class font. You could easily swap this in with like time dilation if you just want or are in a longer damage phase. That's extremely helpful for your armor charges. Then Reaper, so when you use your class ability, your next defeat will create an orb. Then Powerful Attraction will pick up orbs within 12 meters every time you use your class ability. Now, this specific setup is for bosses that are maybe a little bit further away. You're not up close and personal in their face, which is going to be really, really good because you can run this setup as well as the next one in any type of content and just switch which one you want to use depending on which damage phase or what type of boss it actually is. So that's that setup, as you guys saw in the intro. Now let's check this out in action really quickly. So let's take this into a quick damage rotation just to show you guys how this is actually going to function. This is specifically, like I mentioned, one I would use on a boss that's a little bit further away, but it's really, really helpful in an encounter like this with a bunch of ads running around. Your getaway artist does so much work for you. It's just actually quite insane what this thing can do. So let's do shoot all these eyes, pop another soul, meaning we're just gonna have Bleak Watchers all over the map, which then again will just help aid in debuffing targets, as well as just the ads and the bosses that we're gonna go kill. Plus creating orbs like with every single grenade kill. Let's toss another one of these, throw that in the air, toss prismatic, get an armor charges up, and throw that. Now we have elemental honing times 5 because we've hit him with 5 separate abilities. And then we just keep shooting him with mint, throwing our prismatic grenade when we can. Elemental honing would have been so much better if I had rewind rounds right there. Get that for orb pickup real quick. So it's right around half of his health. That wasn't completely, utterly, insanely optimized, but sitting around half of his health solo is not really too bad. 34 damage, I think we can do better. And then throw a Nova Bomb. He's debuffed with the Strand as well as Stasis. Elemental Honing times 5 is fantastic. And then, dude, if I had rewind rounds, this would just be so much better. Oh my god, my ability to reload is nuts. A little bit better than the last encounter. Okay, so right at halfway mark, which is pretty good, especially considering we don't have rewind rounds. If we had that, it would be insane. So it's 35 key damage. Now let's break down the second option. Since this boss is up close and personal, this next one will perform slightly better. Now to change it, all we're doing is tossing on a shotgun with Trench Barrel, specifically the Perfect Paradox. And the reason I'm using this roll specifically is after a successful melee hit, the weapon gains increased damage. Plus it has Cast No Shadows, so dealing melee damage increases its handling, but it reloads it from reserves, meaning we're never going to have to reload when we use our melee. Now, the next thing that we're going to be changing, we're taking off Facet of Dawn because we're putting on Song of Flame. This is going to allow us to be Radiant plus use our Snap melee, which pairs perfectly with our shotgun rotation. Then we're going to switch off Facet of Dawn for Facet of Ruin, so it'll increase the size and damage of our stasis shatters, but as well as our solar ignitions. That'll aid us in a little bit more damage. All while at the same time, we're retaining our grenade, our super, and our weapon stat as high as possible. We don't really need to change too much. We can take off the super font if you want to put on like an orb generation mod, though you don't need to, because remember, you're getting a ton of orb generation from specifically your grenades. Now let's take this one and see how it does in just comparison to the Getaway Artist build with Elemental Honing on your Mint Retrograde. I think this is going to do a little bit more damage. Basically, it's the exact same concept. You want to use your grenade as much as possible. It does all the ad clear, but it also creates all the orbs for you. And then it, again, right, it debuffs all the targets and the boss as well. But exactly same concept we're going into with it. Let's get that right there. Toss another grenade. We should be able to easily get another grenade out, or another grenade back, with just getting a couple extra kills. Don't want the boss to throw me around. So there's more grenades right there. So we have full armor charges, which is really nice. Throw that, pop prismatic with it, and just we're gonna snap and shotgun. That's it. And this is just, this for me is right, it's gonna be your bosses that are a lot more up close and personal, meaning when you were going into like the next dungeon specifically, this is what I'm gonna take in with me solely because if we have a boss that's far away, I have a build for it. If we have a boss that's up close, we also have a build for it. And there you see, it did a lot more damage than the original Mint Retrograde. That's 46k. That did 11,000 more damage in the exact same damage phase. And that's why I wanted to show you both of these options, because not only are you going to have damage for bosses that are further away, but you're also going to have a very, very similar build with bosses that are up close that you can just do a tremendous amount of damage on. Let me know down in the comments which variation you want to use or you think fits your playstyle a little bit better. Feel free to leave a like on the video. That's all I ask, if you enjoyed it, of course. But as always, thank you so much for coming and watching, and I will catch you in the next one.